All right. Ready to pump up that vocabulary.
Yeah, we're diving deep today into some words you might think you know.
But we're going to find out just how well. It's all about the Oxford 5000. 30 words this time.
Grouped 29 to be exact, for those keeping score at home.
Yeah, we're looking at numbers 841 through 870.
And the goal? Well, we want you to walk away not just knowing these words,
but actually using them like a pro.
Exactly. Like, imagine yourself slipping these words into conversations you're writing.
Totally. It's going to make a huge difference in how you communicate.
Oh, absolutely. Like, think about it. A bigger vocabulary helps you express yourself more clearly, understand more what you read and hear.
Plus, it just sounds impressive.
Haha, right. Who doesn't love dropping a fancy word now and then?
Okay, so our first word is grid. Now, most people probably think of streets.
Yeah, like a city grid, all those streets laid out in a neat pattern, right?
Exactly. But grid is way more versatile than that.
Oh, for sure. Like, we talk about the electrical grid, that network that brings power to our homes.
Or even a grid in mathematics, right, like a coordinate system.
Exactly. It's about things being arranged in a structured, organized way.
I like to think of it as a framework. Okay, so how about this sentence? The architect designed the building on a grid system.
Perfect example. Or, the power grid failed, plunging the city into darkness.
Ooh, getting a little dramatic there.
You gotta keep things interesting, right?
Totally. Okay, my turn. My Instagram feed is basically a grid of cat photos.
Haha! I feel that. Guilty as charged.
Okay, let's shift gears to a word with, well, a little more weight to it. Grief.
Yeah, this one can be tough. It's that deep sorrow we feel, often after a loss.
Right, like his grief over the loss of his friend was overwhelming.
Exactly. But, sometimes grief is used for smaller annoyances too. Not as intense, of course, but still.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, missing my train this morning gave me such grief.
Ugh, I know that feeling. Or how about dealing with tech issues as a constant source of grief in my life?
Preach! Okay, let's lighten the mood with grin. Now, this is more than just a smile.
It's that big, cheesy, can't help but show all your teeth kind of smile.
Exactly. The kind you get when you're truly happy or amused.
Yeah, picture a kid on Christmas morning ripping open presents. That's a grin moment for sure.
Totally. Or like they couldn't wipe the grins off their faces after winning the championship.
Love it. And sometimes, you try to hide your amusement, but
that grin just sneaks out.
Exactly. Like, he tried to stay serious, but a mischievous grin betrayed him.
All right, on to a word that can have some real grind to it. And I mean that literally.
Yeah. We're talking about grind, like when you grind coffee beans, turning them into powder.
Right. That crushing, breaking down action is key here.
But it also describes work that's just tedious and tiring, Like, working in customer service felt like a constant grind.
Ugh, tell me about it. It can feel like you're just going through the motions day after day.
Exactly. No end in sight.
Speaking of which, the team's momentum ground to a halt after their star player got injured.
Ooh, good one. And of course, there's the classic, she worked her way up from the bottom through years of hard grind.
Talk about dedication.
Okay.
Next up is grip, a word that's all about holding on tight.
Right, like he gripped the rope with all his strength, that kind of physical grasp.
Exactly. But grip can also be about control or influence, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like the company had a tight grip on the market.
Or even understanding something complex, like I'm finally starting to get a grip on this new software.
Yeah, that aha moment when it all clicks.
All right, let's take a trip to the supermarket with grocery. Pretty straightforward, this one.
Yeah, it's all the food and household stuff you buy there. Like, I need to make a grocery list before I go shopping.
Otherwise, you end up wandering the aisles aimlessly.
So true. Or online grocery delivery has been a lifesaver during the pandemic.
Oh, 100%. I don't know what I would have done without it.
Same here. And just for fun, my fridge is looking pretty bare time for a big grocery haul.
Okay, time for a word with some historical weight. Guerrilla. We usually think of those fighters who use kind of unconventional tactics.
Yeah, against a much larger, more powerful force. Like, the guerrilla fighters were experts at blending into the jungle.
Exactly. And it comes from the Spanish word for little war.
Which makes sense, given its history in resistance movements.
Right. But we also see it used in other contexts these days, like guerrilla marketing.
Oh, that's a good one. It's about using creative, unexpected strategies to get your message out there.
Exactly. Like the company's guerrilla marketing campaign with all that street art and social media was a huge success.
Love it. Shows how language evolves over time.
Totally. Okay, let's talk about something we all need from time to time.
Yeah, guidance.
Yeah, it's all about getting advice, support, something to point you in the right direction. Like the mentor provided valuable guidance to the young entrepreneur.
Perfect example. Or how about when traveling to a new country, it's wise to seek guidance from locals.
Oh yeah, no better way to get the inside scoop. And of course, the student received guidance from her professor on her research project.
Makes sense. And speaking of direction,
there are guidelines. Those rules or instructions to keep us on track.
Exactly. Think of it like a set of best practices. Like, the company has strict guidelines for employee conduct.
Right. Or when it comes to safety, it's crucial to follow safety guidelines when operating heavy machinery.
For sure. And who hasn't seen this one? Please read the guidelines carefully before submitting your application.
Okay, let's dive into a trickier emotion. Guilt.
Yeah, this one can be heavy. It's that feeling of remorse knowing you've done something wrong.
Right. Like she was consumed by guilt after lying to her friend.
Wow, yeah. But it can also be milder, like I felt a twinge of guilt for forgetting my mom's birthday.
Oh, I've been there. Or he tried to assuage his guilt by apologizing profusely.
Makes sense. Sometimes you just gotta make things right.
Exactly. Okay, time for a word that's all about instinct. Gut.
Yeah, literally your stomach, but also about feelings and intuition. Like, doctors often recommend listening to your gut feeling when it comes to health decisions.
So true. It's like that inner voice telling you what's right.
Exactly. Or he had a gut feeling that something was wrong.
And of course, we can't forget the more literal use, the punch landed squarely in his gut.
Ouch. Glad we're sticking to the metaphorical gut today.
Me too. All right, let's head to the great outdoors with habitat, that natural environment where plants and animals live.
Right. Think rainforests, deserts, oceans.
Yeah.
All those diverse ecosystems.
Exactly. And it's so important to protect them. Like deforestation is destroying the habitats of countless species.
Absolutely. Or zoos try to create habitats that mimic the animal's natural environment.
Yeah, it's all about giving those animals the best possible home. And to bring it closer to home, urban gardens can provide habitats for pollinators like bees and butterflies.
Love that. It's all connected,
Okay, let's move on to a word that can be both refreshing and destructive. Hail.
Yeah, as a noun, it's those little balls of ice falling from the sky. Not so fun when you're caught in a hailstorm.
Definitely not. Like the sudden hailstorm damaged crops and cars.
But as a verb, it's about calling out to someone like, you can hail a taxi from the street corner.
Oh, right. Or you can hail someone as a hero.
Exactly. Like the crowd hailed her as a hero after her daring rescue.
Okay, let's talk about finding middle ground with halfway, meaning, well, at an equal distance between 2 points.
Pretty simple concept. Like, we met halfway to agree on the terms of the contract.
Right, finding that compromise. Or the project is halfway complete and we're on track to meet the deadline.
Love to hear it. And how about this for a visual? We stopped for a picnic at the halfway point of our hike.
All right, time to slam on the brakes with halt, meaning to stop completely and suddenly.
Like the bus screeched to a halt to avoid hitting the pedestrian.
Yikes. Glad everyone was okay.
Yeah, that was a close one. But halt can also be used more figuratively, like the company halted production due to safety concerns.
Right, putting things on hold. Or the spread of the virus was finally halted thanks to widespread vaccination.
Fingers crossed it stays that way.
Okay, let's get literal with handful. The amount of something you can hold in your hand. Like She grabbed a handful of berries from the bowl.
Easy peasy. But it can also describe something or someone that's a lot to handle, like toddlers can be quite a handful.
Oh, tell me about it. I've got two of my own. But in a more positive light, it only takes a handful of dedicated individuals to make a difference in the world.
So true. Never underestimate the power of a small group with a big vision.
Now let's talk about skillful handling, the way something is managed or dealt with.
Like the company's handling of the crisis was widely praised.
Or her skillful handling of the horse impressed the judges.
Nice. And let's not forget about safety. Proper handling of food is essential to prevent contamination.
All right, time for a word that's all about being resourceful.
Handy.
Yeah, it's about something being useful or convenient to have around. Like a smartphone is a handy tool for staying connected, for sure. Or describing someone who's good with practical tasks like, my dad is very handy around the house. He can fix anything.
Lucky you. I'm still working on my DIY skills.
Me too. But hey, at least we could say having a first aid kit handy is always a good idea.
Absolutely. Better safe than sorry.
Okay, let's address a more serious topic. Harassment.
Yeah, this one's important. It's about unwanted behavior that makes someone feel threatened or intimidated.
Right, and it's absolutely unacceptable. Like, workplace harassment is a serious issue that should not be tolerated.
It's crucial to address any form of harassment, whether it's verbal, physical, or online. Like, cyberbullying is a form of harassment that can have devastating consequences.
And remember, if you see something, say something.
Absolutely. It's on all of us to create a safe and respectful environment.
Okay, let's take a mental vacation with Harbor.
Yeah. It's a sheltered place for boats. Like, the fishing boats return to the harbor after a long day at sea.
Perfect picture. But harbor can also be a verb.
Oh, right. Like, he was accused of harboring a fugitive.
Or even more figuratively, she harbored a secret desire to become a writer.
Ooh, I like that one.
Okay, time for some tech talk with hardware.
Yeah, we're talking about all the physical parts of a computer or electronic device.
Right, as opposed to the software, like, my computer needs a hardware upgrade to run the latest games.
Yeah, gotta keep up with the times. It's also important to check those hardware requirements before buying any software.
For sure, compatibility is key. And let's not forget the retail side. The store sells a wide variety of computer hardware and accessories.
Your one-stop shop for all your tech needs.
Okay, let's find some inner peace with harmony.
Ah, yes. It's about things being in balance, working together smoothly, like the musicians played together in perfect harmony.
Beautiful image. Or the two countries work together to achieve harmony in the region.
Love it. And you can even use it in a personal sense.
Oh, totally. Like, she strived for harmony in her life, balancing work, family, and personal time.
That's the dream, right?
Okay, time for a word that can be a bit, well, harsh.
Yeah, this one's not always pleasant. It means unpleasant, severe, or even cruel. Like, the critic gave the movie a harsh review.
Ouch. That's gotta sting.
It can also describe environments. Like, the desert is a harsh environment with extreme temperatures.
True. Gotta respect those elements.
Yeah.
And of course, someone's words can be harsh too.
Yeah, words can definitely hurt. Like, her words were harsh, leaving him feeling hurt and rejected.
Okay, let's shift to something more positive, like harvest.
Ah, yeah. It's the gathering of crops, the fruits of all that hard work. Like, the farmers celebrated a bountiful harvest after a long growing season.
Love it. It can also be used metaphorically.
Oh, for sure. Like, the company is reaping the harvest of its investments in research and development.
Right, seeing those efforts pay off. Or she spent years writing her novel, and now she's ready to harvest the rewards of her hard work.
Well deserved. Okay, now for a word that's unfortunately all too common, hatred.
Yeah, this one's heavy. It's that intense feeling of dislike or aversion.
Right, and it can be so destructive. Like, hatred can be a destructive force leading to conflict and violence.
It's important to remember that.
Absolutely. We have to combat hatred with understanding and compassion.
Exactly. Like, we must work together to create a world free from hatred and prejudice.
I couldn't agree more. And to bring it into a more personal context, she couldn't understand the hatred in his eyes.
Ooh, chills. Okay, let's get a little spooky with haunt.
Okay. It can mean to be visited repeatedly by a ghost, like the old house was said to be haunted by the ghost of its former owner.
Classic haunted house story. But it can also describe memories or feelings that keep coming back.
Oh, right. Like the memory of the accident continued to haunt her.
Or even describe a place with a creepy atmosphere, like the abandoned amusement park had a haunted, eerie feeling.
Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Okay, time for a reality check with hazard.
Right back down to earth. It's anything that poses a risk or danger, like smoking is a major health hazard.
For sure. And there are hazards in the workplace, too.
Definitely. Like construction workers face numerous hazards on the job site.
Yes, safety always comes first. And of course, even everyday life has its hazards.
Oh, yeah, like the icy roads created a driving hazard. Be careful out there.
Okay, let's wrap things up with a word that's all about being in charge. Headquarters.
Yeah, it's the main office, the center of operations for an organization. Like, the company's headquarters is located in a skyscraper in the city center.
Right, it's where the big decisions are made, like the military operation was coordinated from the headquarters.
And sometimes it involves travel. She flew to the company's headquarters for a meeting with the CEO.
Okay, and finally, let's end on a positive note with heal.
Love it. It's about becoming healthy again after an injury or illness.
Right, like it takes time for a broken bone to heal properly.
And it's not just physical either.
Oh yeah, emotional healing is important too.
Exactly. Like with time and support, she was able to heal from the trauma.
And let's not forget about medicine. The doctor prescribed antibiotics to help heal the infection.
Wow, we covered a lot of ground today. 30 words down, and so many ways to use them.
Totally. It's amazing how much nuance these words can add to your communication.
So listeners, remember, the key is to actively use these words. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. And who knows, you might even discover some new favorites along the way.
Now that's something to think about.
Thanks for joining our deep dive into the Oxford 5000.
Until next time.